Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea, welcome back to your Chelsea news. In today's video, we have a variety of things to discuss. John Obi Mikel has been speaking publicly about Victor Osimhen to Chelsea again. There's been some transfer rumours around Cole Palmer and rival Premier League clubs, conflicting reports about Gregor Kobel coming to Chelsea, or is he? And also Jonathan David and Yildiz are still on Chelsea's list. Now, of course, I'll be giving my thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Caught Offside have reported that Chelsea are reportedly pushing hard to seal the €100 million signing of Kenan Yildiz this summer. However, they face competition from the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United and Man City. Do you want to see him play in the Premier League? This is very, very interesting. Is this for clicks and headlines? More than likely. He is a very talented player, Yildiz, however you pronounce it, I do apologise. Now, it seems that Yildiz has been on Chelsea's radar for quite some time, but €100 million, I don't think Chelsea would pay it. However, they have paid that type of money for Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, and Mudryk, with all the contingencies in his contract, would push around £18 million. However, if Arsenal, Liverpool, United and City are all going after this youngster, I feel like it's going to come down to the same issue that Chelsea always face, and that is wages. He is an exceptional young talent. He is doing exceptional things, had a very good season, especially over in Juventus doing his thing. Would I like to see him play for Chelsea? Of course, he is an awesome talent. Do I think Chelsea are going to pay the transfer fee? Potentially. Potentially. We're in a position now where we have to sell to then buy because of all of the sort of scattergun approach we've been doing in the last 4 or 5 windows. With PSR now, we are going to have to sell players to raise the capital to go buy the players that we need. Will we get 100 million? I feel like we do have a surplus to requirements that can quite easily generate us over 100 million. Will we spend that on Yildiz? Potentially. I just don't think the wages are going to match what he wants. We don't know. If he's looking for a big summer move, Juve want a big paycheck. Will Yildiz want a big paycheck as well for his weekly wages? More than likely. More than likely. When your reputation grows, your wage demands also grow with it. And I just don't think we can compete with Arsenal, Liverpool, United or City. Potentially United. They're in a bit of a bad financial state as well. They're in a lot of debt. Again, their owners will probably borrow more to then spend on transfers and wages, and they'll try and reduce it some other way. That seems to be what they're doing. We're clearly not doing that. And again, City, they can just kind of spend infinite money. They've got an infinite money glitch right now, at least until these charges are kind of sorted or whatever. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Would you like to see him sign for Chelsea? Would you spend €100 million on him? Or do you feel that that's an overinflated price for the player? Moving on, RCM Sport have reported that Newcastle, Manchester United, Tottenham, West Ham, Chelsea and Liverpool are all interested in signing Jonathan David as a free agent. But Marseille are hoping to persuade the player to stay in France. Jonathan David is a weird story and sort of situation, right? I feel like he is a very good forward. I think he has been a very good striker for a number of years now. Yes, he's been scoring goals in the French league and some people look down on that. I don't really understand why. I know it's a bit of a farmers league, quote unquote, but that doesn't mean you can't generate fantastic players from there. There's been loads of players from the French league over the years that have gone on to do and have amazing careers, right? And I think Jonathan David is one of very few complete forwards of an age where he's young but still has experience, can finish from both feet, he makes some good runs in behind, he can bully centre-backs, and I feel like he can play as part of a system. So it's very interesting that Chelsea have been linked with him for a long, long time. He's now going as a free agent in the summer. Marseille are going to try and persuade him, of course. If he's already in France playing in the French league, it kind of makes sense. And then you've also got the likes of Tottenham, West Ham and Liverpool, United and Newcastle all looking for a centre forward this summer. The pool of number 9s is very, very small in world football right now, especially in European football, when you really think about it. I think whoever ends up signing Jonathan David has got an absolute gem. To me, this has Tottenham written all over it, and I don't know why. It just seems like a Tottenham signing, and I don't know why. I would love to see Jonathan David in a Chelsea shirt, especially on a free transfer. It means we can give him a bit more wages because it balances out over time. He's still young, but he's got enough experience. I think he'd be a brilliant signing, and I'd be interested to know who you feel like he will sign for out of these clubs: Newcastle United, Tottenham, West Ham, Chelsea and Liverpool. To me, he doesn't look like a United forward, potentially a Newcastle forward, a Tottenham forward, West Ham potentially. I could see him at Chelsea and I could also see him at Liverpool, but it'd be very interesting. There are a lot of clubs after number 9s this summer. Obviously, that is one of Chelsea's top priorities. So, be interesting to see if we are going to sort of investigate this even more and see if it is actually doable, if it is an genuine interest on both parties, or again, it's just a generic, we've been looking at Jonathan David for a while, we have no interest of actually going in and getting him. Moving on, TBR Football have reported that Cole Palmer is not interested in a move to Liverpool or Manchester United. His only focus is rediscovering his best form at Chelsea. And this is some really good news for us Chelsea fans. There is this overarching theme that if Chelsea don't start delivering trophies and being higher in the table and things like that Cole Palmer's going to leave. And I truly believe that that could happen over a long period of time. He's tied down a long-term contract. He's on like a 9-year deal now. He's getting paid double what he was getting paid last year. He had a phenomenal season last season. This year he started very, very well. Last few months, we all know he's been off the boil. He's lost his confidence. But he's still been getting the odd assist here and there. No goals in 17 games, by the way, which is a bit wild. However, he will rediscover that form. A big concern for Chelsea fans is he's going to leave. There's no reason for us to keep him. There's no reason for him to stay here. He's gonna look for other clubs that are competing for trophies consistently. He wants to play Champions League football. He's a Champions League player, and I totally agree. However, he came to Chelsea as a youngster. He had an amazing season, a breakout season, one of the best breakout seasons we've seen in a long, long time in the Premier League. And he's become the heart of Chelsea in terms of he is our poster boy. He is the main man. He is our best player. And that goes a long way for players on like a fan connection and on a personal level, that they are the main man. A lot of players move to clubs because they want to be the main focal point, whether it is on the wings, whether it's up front, whether it's in midfield, defence, whatever. They want to be the first name on the team sheet because they have very short careers, and that's what football's all about. It's performing the best you can for as long as you can. So I'm glad that this has kind of been squashed, because there were murmurs of Liverpool and United going in for Cole Palmer in the summer. And I mean, look, the only way this happens is if we get an astronomically big bid of like 150, 200 M's, and Chelsea go, do you know what, that's too good to turn down. But even so, the player can still reject the move. So I thought it was interesting. I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think Cole Palmer's going to stay for a long period of time and become a Chelsea legend, or do you think he will look to leave within the next few seasons if Chelsea don't improve? Genuinely want to know your thoughts. But I thought this was interesting to talk about because I personally can't see him going unless the board accepts some absolutely ridiculous sort of transfer fee. Moving on to the news regarding Gregor Kobel, we have some conflicting reports, and again, I would love to know your thoughts. BILD via BVB Newsblog have reported that Gregor Kobel is in close dialogue with Chelsea FC, and for a fee of around £51 million, Dortmund bosses would have to negotiate. Kobel wants to play in the Champions League. However, Ben Jacobs has reported that Chelsea's aim is to still pick a new number one from Robert Sanchez, Philip Jorgensen, Petrovic and Mike Penders. Links with Dortmund's Gregor Kobel are wide of the mark. This is very interesting because Kobel was on our radar at the end of last summer. In January, the reports start up again, and now they're starting to come up for summer, which kind of makes sense. We're linked with pretty much everyone. However, we know the goalkeeping issue is a big issue and a crisis that needs to be sorted at Chelsea. We know that Robert Sanchez has improved in the second half of the season. I'll give him credit where it's due, but I'm not, even publicly, I'm not his biggest fan. He's not good enough to be Chelsea's number one, in my opinion. However, we've got Sanchez, Jorgensen, who we spent £45 million on last summer, who doesn't really look to be pushing for number one. Petrovic on loan, who's coming back, who looks absolutely phenomenal, who I personally think will be Chelsea's number one next season. Now he's learned to play out from the back, and the stats and the improvements across this season at Strasbourg has been phenomenal. I think it basically speaks for itself. And then you've got Mike Penders, who's one of the brightest talents in goalkeeping in the world right now. He's young, he's tall. He's got great save percentages. He's got this amazing potential. It's data driven. He passes the eye test. So it'll be very interesting. So the whole Gregor Kobel thing, he's a keeper that can play out from the back. He's someone we've been heavily linked with. Again, we have a very good relationship with Dortmund as well. So it's a case of, you want Carney? We want Gittins. What about Kobel? Can we work something out? That could potentially happen. But I found it very interesting that there's conflicting reports that his camp are saying, look, he'll go to Chelsea if they get Champions League football, and you're looking at around £50 million to buy him. But we just got to let Dortmund know. And then Ben Jacobs was like, nope, they are wide of the mark. It is all fugazi. I can't whistle. Which I just found very interesting, because when you look at that list of goalkeepers that Chelsea are aiming to pick a new number one from, for me it's very obvious. It's Georgi Petrovic. It has to be Petrovic. But then who's the number two? Is it Sanchez fighting for the number one spot? Is it Jorgensen with another year of development as a number two and pushing in them cup games or whatnot to try and develop even more in the Premier League? Or is it Mike Penders, who's been on loan as well, all around Europe and kind of doing his thing? Do we then bring him in and have Petrovic and Penders as 1 and 2 and they both fight it out for number 1 spot? Very interested to know your thoughts. Or would you think Chelsea should just go out and buy Kobel and then we've got a guaranteed number 1 and then Petrovic can be number 2 fighting for that number 1 spot? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And lastly, John Obi Mikel was on BN Sports and he says he wants to play for Chelsea. And for a bit of context, Mikel was talking publicly about Osimhen and Chelsea again. Mikel says the deal could easily be completed if Chelsea picked up the phone. And this is while they were discussing Osimhen's preferred transfer destination this summer. We know that Manchester United are heavily linked. We know that Chelsea were heavily linked in the summer and it fell through for whatever reasons, whether it's the agents, whether it's Chelsea not paying enough wages, whatever it was. I don't think we'll ever know the absolute truth behind it. However, Mikel has been very, very vocal this season, across the whole season, saying, yo, it's really easy. Chelsea picked the phone up, deal's done. He wants to come Chelsea. It's his boyhood club. You know, he's been really buttering them up. I'm surprised that Mikel isn't his agent at this point. That's how much he talks about Osimhen, right? And I know they've got a good relationship, obviously from the same nation, and they share a lot of passions, and you know they really like Drogba and things like that. And Mikel played for Chelsea. Some consider him a Chelsea legend. He really is pushing for Osimhen to Chelsea, and he's basically keeps saying that if Chelsea just pick the phone up again, the deal was done. And I don't know what he means by that, because if that means you pick up the phone and you pay the wages that Osimhen wants, then yeah, sure, the deal's done. But is it a case of pick up the phone, we want to pay you less, and he goes, okay, amazing, have that phone call, have that conversation. But from the way these reports are going, it looks like Chelsea are less and less interested in Osimhen, and they honestly seem like the type of people, and I mean the board and the owners, that if they go in for negotiations and it doesn't work, they shut that door and go, right, cool, we'll move on from that, we're not going to go back, and we'll find our other targets. And yes, that makes a lot of sense, not to get emotionally invested into these transfers. It's hard for fans because we want to see the best players come and play for Chelsea, and I know a lot of our fan base are screaming for Victor Osimhen, and it makes sense. He's a complete forward, great in the air, great with both feet, he's scoring goals all over Europe. He is just a natural finisher. He will find a way to put the ball in the net, and that's what we desperately need. Again, it just goes back to wages, and it goes back to we're not going to pay what he's asking for, which seems ludicrous. But again, without no European football, without no front of shirt sponsor, the fact that we've been spending all this money in every single window, we've now got to a position with PSR where we have to offload people to then get the funds to then buy players. And there's a couple of positions that need sorting out this year, and that's a number 9, a left winger, a centre-back potentially, and a goalkeeper. Just to get all of those positions sorted for next season. We also have loanees returning, like Santos and Petrovic. Esteval's coming in. Paez potentially stays with the first team or goes on loan. So it's an exciting time to be a Chelsea fan, especially when it comes to the Club World Cup and onwards, because we're going to start seeing these loanees come in, and we're going to see what Chelsea are going to do in the market. They want to wrap it up before then, which is a very, very tight deadline, if you ask me. There's also question marks and clouds hanging over Marasca's head. Will he stay? Will he go? Is he going to get sacked? There's a lot around it. So it's an exciting time and also a frustrating time to be a Chelsea fan, because you want the best players to play for you. Mikel was absolutely obsessed with getting Osimhen to Chelsea. I don't know whether he gets a percentage of the deal, but I would love to see it happen. I really would. I think Victor Osimhen completely transforms this team. I genuinely think that. My only concern is I don't see Chelsea paying the wages, and I don't see Victor Osimhen reducing his demands, because why would you? The only way you would is if it is a boyhood club and you go, do you know what? It's not even about the money. I want to go play for the club. I want to go break the records. I want to be a legend there. I'll take the incentive-based wages. I'll take the pay cut for a season, because I know I'm going to slap 20-plus goals next season and then get what I'm after, the season after, and et cetera, et cetera. It's the only way he's going to come to us, because we know that Napoli are infinitely difficult to deal with in terms of negotiating contingencies and contracts and actual transfer fees and how that split works. The player side, again, it just seems to be all down to wages, which is fine. I get that. I understand why players want as much as they can, short careers. I personally feel like if he doesn't go United, he won't come to Chelsea. He'll potentially go Saudi, because they'll offer him a massive bag. And look, he's still of an age where he's got years left in him in his position. He could go Saudi for 3 or 4 years, become infinitely rich, and then kind of go anywhere else where money isn't an issue. The only concern is, as well, from a Chelsea perspective, is he's over the age of 25. So if we are going to bring in some experience of someone like Osimhen, who's like 26, I think he's just turned 26 or just turning 27. Either way, he's over that 25 limit and not, getting into his 30s. it means we'll be breaking two structures, which is we're buying some experience over the age of 25, and we're going to be breaking the wage structure. So again, I know this Victor Osimhen kind of goes in loops with Chelsea fans, and I know some people are bored of it. Some people are really invested in it. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you think it's really as easy as Chelsea picking up the phone and saying, hey, we want to buy you, let's get this deal done? Or do you think that bridge has been burnt because of how it ended last summer? Just curious to know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And that's all the latest Chelsea news for today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section, because I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail that appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.